There we go. Okay. Welcome, welcome. Come on in, guys. Alright. Let's check to see if everything's actually working. Cool. Okay. Well, I just looked at one thing and it's like, yep, that's working. Let's see. Okay. Welcome aboard. Let's see. Let me look at one other thing over here. Looks like... Let's turn that up a little bit. There you go. Alright. Welcome, welcome. Come on in. Oh, Stream Elements works. Thank you. It's weird because I feel like I had that working before. But, I guess now it's very little temperamental with that. Interesting. Alright. Well, that's looking good. Okay, how are we all doing? Is this, we can't tell right now, I don't think there's many people yet coming in. I guess there's a lot of other stuff, a lot of fun stuff going on, so I got some competition. I'm gonna go ahead with this, but yeah, it's gonna be, for right now, it's gonna be a little quiet than usual. That's okay. But, I guess it's pretty early. People need to move over from one thing to another. Like summer. Thank you. Welcome, welcome. Today should be fun. Do little updates on the visual novel and the working on the Sparky puppet. So not wholly prepared for that, but we'll trial by fire, but seeing how that'll do. All right. Welcome, welcome. Let's get you on in. Do. All right. Welcome, welcome. Good to see ya. Hello. Hi again, Summer. And I guess Stream Elements for thank you bot for keeping us all in a row. Appreciate that. Let's see. So I've been busy. Work has been off and on. A lot of large projects that are due in a couple weeks. So it's just been a lot of going back and forth for like, well, I can sort of work on it for like a little bit here and there. But we definitely slowed down since like the end of the summer. End of summer was like a whole bunch of different small like little league and T-ball little team trophies. Now it's end of year, you know, those corporations that's like best of years and everything. So a little bit less abundance of those than compared to like the ones in earlier. So but yeah, the ones that are there do take a couple days to work on, so it's been I've been busy. I've been busy, even if there's only like 2 or 3 things, you know, on my shelf to do. It's like, oh, well, this one's gonna take like half a week to make, so it's like it kind of evens out, even if it seems like I was only working on like 2 things, but those things took several days to do. So it's like, okay. Otherwise, yeah, it's been pretty chill at work, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. How we all doing? Welcome, guys. I saw some new likes, so it's hard to know. It says there's 1 viewer, but that's okay. Oh, there we go. There we got 2. Welcome, welcome. If you're looking, haven't chatted anything yet, that's okay. Let's see. Guess I can start off. I was gonna either show Hitch or the game first. I think I'll start with the game first and show that off. So I made some pretty quick rudimentary first pass at the animations. So I'll just start off that. This is the same from before, but it's mostly... There we go. So now I got the new Sunny Bubble. Right now, she's got little animations. Oh, hello. Welcome, Cookie. Okay, great to see you. Do you think you'll stick around for a bit? Or usually you like leave right around toast time. Is that right? I just wanted to know. But good to see you. So I can figure things out. Let's see. So what I got is, I think I updated, yeah, I updated the text bubble, the text box here. Add a little full thing. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Well, the full thing being like the entire live stream itself, for just the main content, you know, the main meat of it. I appreciate that though. Awesome. Okay, cool. Good to hear. Alright, so you just haven't started anything yet, so we're all just trying to catch ourselves up on all this. So I updated the sunny bubbles. Now it's just, I had like a triangle at the bottom. It was like a little like triangle shape below her face. I wanted it to be like a POV, kind of like arrow to be like kind of like pointing towards you, and I had a couple different versions of that. But had a review with some people, and I guess it was my dad. My dad looked at it and was confused, thinking that that shape was like maybe like a button or something. Like it seemed like an interactive like click to the next screen button. You know, like all those like upside down triangles where it's like pointing down, and it's like, oh, that's the icon to like click for the next screen, and it's like, oh, that's not what I intended. So I like to just get rid of it, and I think it's kind of more simple and more cute anyway. So, and I got different emotions, so like her face kind of rotates and shifts around, and there'll be different. I got like 20 or so different expressions so far. So I had to like hand code each one of them in every single frame of it too. So this took a while. And eventually got a little bit of these animations as well, but it's slow going as I had to kind of figure out what kind of design I want, and then also implement it, and then also put it into the code. So it's a bit of a longer process than just animating it. Let's see. Hi Mario, welcome. Welcome. Good to see you. And Real Fan, good to see you. Let's see. How we doing today? Doing good. Work has been kind of light, but just a lot of big projects, so it's been pretty good. And I've been working on this. I've actually been working on Hitch's puppet. I don't know why I said it like that. For the past week. So, oh, that's awesome. AMVs. That takes some working to find out what the source is and everything, and then try to make it into a cohesive enough experience. Yeah, I've never done one myself, but I know editing. That's always commendable. Awesome. Well, I've been busy with Hitch Trailblazers little puppet here. I'll go into more depth with that, but I wanted to kind of do a little spoiler with that. I got different expressions for Sunny to go, wow, I'm feeling different feels. Hopefully they're cute. I don't know. Little screen shake. Obviously when you play, you'll be able to read it on your own time, so I'm just trying to do it at a fairly good clip here, just to get rid of this. So, let's see. I've only implemented Izzy's character model so far, so I'll start with that. Otherwise you'll just see like a gray character. See if I can show it off. That's basically just, yeah, it's not even, this is totally wrong. There's no text bubble at all or anything. Let's go back to where it's looking okayer. Let's see. I was gonna work on a new animation with character sprites. Visual ops. Oh, it's music video of animation. Oh, that's really cool. Can't wait to see that. Guess I can find out what your channel is from there. So I'll be on the lookout when you post that. Awesome. Excuse me. So I got Izzy, we just got little. I think there's like 3 frames, so 3 different pictures, where it's open mouth, closed mouth, and then closed mouth with blink. And then in the code, I can say how long each picture durates for, how long it's exposed for. And so I can kind of have a little like squash and stretch of her talking, like her whole body kind of moves down, and then it's really simple and just like 3 pictures. Really only 2 of just the mouth opening and closing, and then just 1 for the blink. And then we get to swap between Sunny like appears, and then she talk, and then Izzy's politely waiting for her turn to talk again. But yeah, I'll show the code as like every single instance kind of flips back and forth, and whether or not they have their mouth open or like which text box is shown. So there's like 3 or 4 elements that had to like swap back and forth. There's the 2 text boxes themselves. They are different pictures, and then at the show and hide whether or not to see Sunny if she's talking or not, and then 1 for if Izzy's talking or not. So in like every single text box there's like 4 variables that like I have to flip back and forth. And then also a little bit of animation where like she kind of jumps. So that's coded into Ren'py's like translation. Yeah, I think they're just called translations. So I didn't make an animation. I didn't have like a Toon Boom picture animation of her jumping up, but it literally just moves the picture itself and then moves it up and down. So, and then I did this pretty quickly just this morning. I got like Izzy's animation and then implemented a bunch of Sunny's pictures today. So a little jank here and there, but it just need a clean pass later on. But most of it is just now just going through the emotions and picking out what emotion I want. I made like a whole slew of different pictures for Sunny. I haven't done every Izzy emotion yet, as you'll see that she's always happy. But Sunny reacts a little bit better. So I'll once I get more time, I'll go back and do Izzy and then the rest of the characters as well and everything else I gotta do for this. But it's getting there. You can definitely see like the blueprints of what this game is gonna feel like. It's slowly coming together. I'm pretty happy with it so far. But what do you guys think of this as a little vertical slice kind of a thing to make sure that everything here is pretty much working? Obviously I'll add music and then sound effects later, but just about everything that I want to add on the bare bones scale is here. So this is what it's gonna look like. Yeah. And I get little more expressions. And then it swaps. So, and then that's about it in terms of other finished parts. Again, I just finished Hitch, his puppet, like literally last night. So wasn't able to also implement him for today's stream, but Izzy's there. At least just 2 pictures of it. So, and just to show like how complicated this can get. This is, let me show the characters actually. I love it. Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Just got the text boxes. So those are the white square circles with the name tags. So the name tags are having their own images, and then the name is actually specified by this code to say what name they should be. The text of the names, and then a picture of the design of it. And then each of these are the animations for like Sunny. So like when she's feeling happy, then I have picture 1 lasts for like a bit, picture 2 lasts for a bit, 1, 2, 1, 3. So that's what I was saying, like if I can go back, maybe shut it off a little bit. So it goes from trying to show it off a little easier. Animations for the text box when they appear instead of They do have dissolves, but I try to remove them because the way that I structured it had Izzy going from one picture to another, and then she would also dissolve. So it'd be like a crossfade, like she would like zip out of existence and then come back, because it was in the same line of string of code where you would hide text box, show Sunny, then with a dissolve. This is the way that I had to go about it, is that I had to have to dissolve here and then also show things in the correct order. Otherwise, there's Z depth, where if I show Izzy and then the text box, that would mean that what happens is that if you show the text box first in the vertical stack, then that would appear, and then you would show Izzy, and then Izzy would be on top of the text box. And so if I want to have that dissolve of like somebody's kind of fade off like that, like a dissolve where you imagine her like coming back and then having a different emotion. So that's what I mean of all the cleanup work of I try to clean up some of the dissolves like in down here in the conversation. We're just trying to remove some of those dissolves that would interfere with the characters. So, but I could definitely have the text box fade off, but it's just like, how do you then... You would have to like do the text box as its own thing. Yeah, it gets really complicated, like trying to show them in the correct order and then having the engine also know certain parts need to change, but it's like the order matters, and then yeah. So you need to like, to have that work is that you need to have text box dissolve last, so it'll be on top, but then the character needs to change first and then text box afterward. But then how do you make that different dissolving structure when it's the same block of code? So that's where it gets, yeah. So I'll maybe tinker around with this a little bit more. Obviously I'll do like a whole cleanup work to see what I can do about it, but man, most of this is just trying to figure it out as I go. Trying to make it work, you know, not try to have Izzy be on top of the text box, sort of thing. So at least I figured that out, or at least debugged it to be like, okay, the order of this matters. Is that show hide text box, hide Izzy happy, then show a different version of Izzy. Otherwise you'll have two Izzy's on screen, so it gets worse. Let's see. Hi cartoons. And okay. I drawed. Wee, oh man. Hi Mario. Let's see. Yeah, it just keeps going, like only the orange parts are the actual text parts. So this is actually the dialogue, but then like you then have to do all these different bits to like hide and show. Because again, if you show another, because they're basically different versions or different instances. It's not like Izzy changes expression. It's like a different character themselves that changes. So it's like Izzy 1 compared to Izzy 2 are completely different entities from each other. They look the same, like they look identical, but if I swap from one to another and then have a hop, like a translation, then only one of them actually hops, and then you'll see the one behind it. So it actually has to like swap between hiding and showing, and then that gets more complicated. So it's a process of trying to figure this out, but most of this is doing pretty good. I mean, I'm obviously pretty happy with that. This is getting there, and because I didn't have to manually code how to do the text box themselves, I'm pretty happy with that. Thanks, Cookie. And also, we'll have to change this one. Oh, here we go. This is actually good to show. This is the little triangle that I got rid of. So in the newer version, this little bottom triangle is gone. And that's what I meant again, because it looked like it's like icon wise, you know, if you think about things as like icons, and then you think of this triangle as like, oh, I have to click out to like get the get it to change. But then it's like, wait, and Sunny's gone. Uh-oh. Like if Izzy's talking, but Sunny's gone, how do I progress the story? Uh-oh. Like I'm not supposed to? What's going on? Whoa. So, yeah, just like removing it full stop helps. The only reason I wanted it was because I wanted it to be like your Sunny as like a point of view. Yeah, POV. So it'll feel like I wanted like a complex cartoon thing of it being like a speech bubble, but it's like having some way to connect you into this kind of thing. So it did get complicated, but everything else is working pretty good. And then it's just gonna be going through everything else. This will have Pip and Zip. We'll have 2 characters on screen at once, and then Hitch and Sparky. I almost said Spike. It's gonna be. I'll have to figure out whether I want to have them as one sprite, because I want the way that I imagine Hitch and Sparky is that Sparky will be on top, like riding on top, like a cowboy riding on top of Hitch, and so to have that kind of layering system, you practically have to have them be on the same Toon Boom layer, or at least as an X where that is a sprite. So like its leg can be behind and have different up and downs layers. So that might have to be one, and then I just have to have a whole bunch for like having Sparky having a different expression from Hitch and then having multiple versions of that. So yeah, and then all of Luna, yeah. And then doing the endings where they're all there and then having different expressions. But what I got is a whole bunch of Sunny pictures. So on the left here, they're colored because they're like old versus new. It's like I just added some of these new ones in, but like there's the picture of her, so I can kind of show between some of these. Let's see. So I got scared 1, eyes open, mouth open, and then 2, and then her mouth closed, and then mouth closed with blink. And so then in characters, then we go through it and find scared up here. So it goes from 1, which is eyes open, and then hold that for a bit, goes to 2, which is then the 2, and then to 3 for a bit. And the way that it kind of swaps between them. So she can like open her mouth, close it, open her mouth, close it, open her mouth, and then blink, and then go back, and then repeat. Starts this whole section again. So that's how that works. But yeah. Excuse me there. Yes, that is a frequently asked question, sort of. Or at least just ones I don't want to explain every time whenever anyone wants to ask that. Thank you, though. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's like pretty deep in there. If that's hard to find, yeah, just keep scrolling. You'll find it. A lot of other fun stuff too. If everyone else is free to read it. I actually encourage it because the first paragraph has our rules. That's why Gerard got timed out, because of our rules that are listed in the first paragraph. So there you go. But yeah, let's go. Anything else? Let's see. Trying to think if there's anything else I want to think of. More just want to like finishing all the other parts. That's what I'm gonna do. But how does this look? If anyone else haven't had time to really, I guess now that it's been showing off to you, like it's how the whole. Because I'll just keep continuing with making this, but if you want to have something more different, then it's probably better to start on that now. Because actually what I had to do was, because I had the triangle and like 15 different pictures, I already exported them and put them into the game. And then later where I got advised to change it. So I was like, oh, the triangles are hard coded into the picture of Sunny. So I had to re-export every single picture, and because I already renamed everything to be these Sunny Shock 1, Sunny Shock 2, the way that I exported in Toon Boom was just Sunny frame number, so it'd be Sunny frame 31, and then it's like, oh, I have to go back through and like realign which one was which, and be like, uh-oh, was frame 37 sleep 2? So I like had to match them all up of all these and then add like a whole bunch more as it went along. That's like I need more expressions for her talking. Just with Sunny's, just with Izzy's conversation, I had to keep going, like adding more and more. But Sunny should be the most complex because she's going to be talking throughout of every single part of the script. And then Izzy's only, you know, like with her conversation, which is just this, and then the ending, which she only talks a couple times. So for the rest of the characters, it should be more streamlined, a little bit simpler. Because right now I have like, I don't know, like 50 pictures or 60 or something pictures of all of her expressions. Over Izzy. I just got a couple for right now. And here they are. These are ones directly exported from Toon Boom. So keep working on this, and let's see. I write a full script for this. Yes. Let me see if I can find my script for that. I can share it. It's a little different. Some wordings here and there are a little bit different, but on the whole, it's very, very, like 99% the same. Check that out. Should be safe. And that's the full text of the whole script. So that's kind of like more, obviously it's just the talking parts. But yeah, all this extra stuff of everything in the middle won't be in there, but it's just these more dark orangey parts, I guess. Yeah. So anyway, I gotta move on so I can show off Hitch's puppet. See, it was a little different to work on, a lot more involved than I thought. That did take me like the full rest of the week up to like Friday, working on it every day to try and work on them. But he's looking pretty good. So he's got the mirror base, but a lot of swap this around. There you go. It's like 80% the mirror base that I had, but I had to go back through and like really work on rethink every piece that I had, each element, and rework it to match with the more stallion base. But on the whole, I think most of the hardest part was actually working on the hair. Still not 100% happy with it, but it's like it definitely works. This won't be 100% accurate on every frame. None of my characters have ever been perfect with the clipping with some of these pieces. That's like, oh, you want this frame? How about no? It's not gonna look too good. So you just kind of choose a more oblique angle, and then be like, here's the actual frames that I made. And then in interpolation, it's like trying to figure it out, but it works mostly well. I reworked just about everything on the face as well. That the eyes are a little bit different shaped, especially the nose has a different shape here. Instead of just being a snout, it becomes more of a hello kind of shape. Well, it's the same, but had it to be also moved around. Let's see. Hey Jed, welcome. I already showed off the visual novel script for the demo of it. I just gotta move on so I can show off more stuff. Maybe a little contraption here of his little belt harness thing. So it's a little deformer. It's like kind of grab it around and show off that it's it can be animated if it wants to be. Some different views of it. Oh, it also took me forever to get the front view It's because the legs would interfere with this little, have a little spot, those little white spot here. It would interfere with the legs because the legs were on top. They were like that. So it's like, huh. That's kind of clipping right there. Where like they're intersecting at a bad, you know, it doesn't look good. So like, do I do a mask? And it's just like, I went through every process of like everything that I know of like, how do I get this to like work? So it's like, let me add a new piece. So it kind of like cut the leg at a certain point, but then they're on different pieces, and the way that the rest of this would work is like that would not work. So I was like, okay, let me just literally just push it back. And Z that behind the torso, but then the torso had to be recalibrated as well. The shape of it is also a lot more starky, and so I was like, ugh. So I was like, okay, just put it back, put the legs behind the torso, refigure that out, and then try to figure out how this harness is gonna work, and then on each frame here, see what that looks like. That's a little odd. That's new. I don't remember that happening. Trying to see if it's a different picture. What are you? Let's see. I have a front helper. Does that help with this? Aha! So I do have a front helper. Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Hello. Please don't talk. You got it. I guess meeting at the judge. Alright, thank you. Birthday this month. Awesome. Hope you have a good birthday. So I think what's happened is that I think it just needs to be exposed for like one frame. If I get rid of that, I think that'll work. And the way that I exploded everything else, I have to keep that in mind. Is that this front helper is only for just to hide. Oh yeah, so I guess I only put, I'm trying to remember how I did this. I always work on these like at midnight. So I was like, that's like the time like after work, you know. I do like a 8 to 4 work, and then I come home and have dinner, and then I just barely have enough energy to like, I get more energy as I go along into the night, and it's like, I have energy now at 11:30. All right, let's go. Let's go animate. Yeah. So I barely remember what I'm doing. So I was like, all right. So I added this little shape. See if I can find it. It's a little peanut shape that literally just kind of goes around the shape that I want it to be, so it can be kind of go around the legs, so that that'll be kind of masked out without it being a real. It's a sort of a real mask, but I think the cutter is actually the torso itself and not the legs. Interesting. So you get it? Yeah, it's something. Get all that dinner energy. Takes a while. On the other side, this one has a kinematic output for the badge, so it doesn't also get deformed. See, like the star little horseshoe shape doesn't. It's kind of like doesn't actually change shape as well. So it's kind of rotated without it actually changing the shape. Like, what if I can figure that out? Yeah, it's got a kinematic output. If I change that, if I change it to this, and then move it, this is why we have it. Otherwise, we get glitches like that where it's trying to move it, but it's not strong enough, like a magnet. Or like this point here in the middle is trying to move this amount of, only like a circle amount of area of movingness. It has an area of effect that it has to move, and so the whole badge isn't part of that. So you have to have different measures where I have to use the kinematic output, and then it's like just kind of moves on its own without doing that. So little tricks like that that's like advanced to figure out. Oh boy. So but most of it works now. Pretty happy with that. Yeah. And because I'm already using the base that I had before, most of this is I didn't have to like recreate the legs or anything like that, but they all work. So, and physics and everything in mouth and all this other stuff, it should also work too. So, that's okay. Alright, just wanted to give it a little tour of Hitch before we get started on Sparky, and so we'll start on that. As I swap between the files, sometimes it kind of blinks when I change files, like the whole screen kind of freezes and then kind of flashes quickly. So to avoid anything that might be scary for you guys, I'm hiding it. And so you don't also see my other files. So, how you doing? Screen was making 11 or 1. Ah, jeez. Yeah, I usually don't try to stay up and actually do anything past midnight, so. Can I ask you something? If you want to ask me, that's okay. But know that some of those frequently asked questions are in the description. Alright. This is a blank template. But I have a whole bunch of Sparky pictures that I took today. I was working the whole week on Hitch, so give me a break with that. And I got some, you can see how the scale of each horse is a little bit different. They got different sizes and scales. So I want to use that to make sure that the line weight works. Because if you just make like Sparky the same size, if you draw Sparky the same size as a pony, and then try to then scale them down or move her up, then the line weight, the thickness of the line, then won't actually, will then be mismatched. So it's like, so it'd be better, is what I'm thinking, is to have these at least to start with, and then realize these are just scale that I've started with the other ponies, and so I can kind of figure out like how tall Sparky would be, and so that he'll be about the right size with my weird global scale, so I can make sure that the line width, thickness and weight is about the same. Was that about VTube? Or you just retracted it? That's okay. Yeah, I've only really done this VTube stuff because of my it's mostly my webcam just not being super up to par. It's not super cheap. It's like a handheld auxiliary, so it's on its own webcam, but the color space is horrible. It's either that or my room environment kind of makes everything look more red than usual. So I always look either like a tomato or something that's like I'm on a burst of like trying to explode or something. So it's like, oh, I can't, either that or change the scent, and then that doesn't look real enough. And so I was like, is there a way to, I don't know, hide my face in a way, but then also have something fun and, you know, so have something to look at? And that's where the VTube comes in, and it's like, okay, there we go. I'm totally okay with being on camera, but it's like, just doesn't, never really sit well with me in my webcam. You can probably go back at my channel and then see how that looks. And I was like, I tried to add some filters onto it, but it just never really looks the way that I like it to be. So I never really felt happy with it, you know. So, and Derpy's my mascot for the for the channel. So it was a perfect fit with that. But I know that it's a little odd to see Derp Horse not be voice come out wrong. But she didn't really have a consistent voice until like season 5, so I think it's okay. So I'm just gonna start. I'm gonna follow these out. So I'm gonna use my startup of many references as possible. See if I can scale these out on the way. What is that? You should have voiced one of the cameras just see regular voice. That's what I did with, well, at least in my, what I can do with my capacity is that I had that Halloween video from 2013 that was Get a million views and I hate it. So I think it only comes up to... I'll just make it about that tall. Let's see. So I can do this. What was I saying? Like I voiced Derpy in one of my cartoons. And it was like just a bunch of grunts. She didn't really say anything, but it's mostly just like, you know, those kind of like weird grunts. So I'm gonna do a front view. So Sparky will be looking towards us, towards the viewer. I'm gonna figure out a head size, and then he can be like 2 apples high. Feel like that'll be good. I'm trying to make like a snowman style, like trying to figure out how many heads they are. That's usually a pretty good character approximation of like how tall characters are. They didn't really say feet as much as how many head sizes there are. Most characters can be like maybe like 1, 2, 3, 4 maybe sizes. And so like the body and then the legs. And so they'd be like 1, 2, 3, 4 heads tall. So think of it like that. So we think we could probably get away with maybe 1.5 heads tall. So we could probably go like about there. But all those how to draw looks are really, really good. We'll start off with something like this. That's like trying to figure out the very basic character design, something like that. But yeah, just to finish that Halloween one, is like it was a test. I wanted to see if it would work out okay, and it didn't really didn't really turn out as well as I thought. I don't think I didn't pitch it. Was probably one of the big problems. I didn't make her voice. I didn't artificially make it higher or anything. So it really was like, you know, or something. My teenage voice. So it could have been better. Let me get a different color actually. And then I can do this on a different sub layer. Probably just figure out this design first. I'm probably not gonna get the complete rigging, especially all those special buttons that I have with Hitch, where I can like move that little box so I can move the head around and rotate it. Probably just want to design it for right now. It's kind of flat head. Yeah. But yeah. Voicing's sort of fun. You just gotta be super confident in it. It's probably the best way to go about it. It's just like not to be be like, am I doing this right? Like, geez, I don't feel good about this, you know? You just gotta own it, you know? So I'm just gonna be really loose with a lot of this for right now. I'm not gonna try and be, you know, I'm not gonna be like, you know, trying to make a perfect line, just kind of rough it out. And I'm gonna probably be going back and forth on all of these drawings, so none of this is gonna be final here. I think it's fun is that I can have the snoot be layered on top. Just trying to feel something here. So it's like a weird mix of like some sort of a dragon with spike. It's not really spike, but it's also not really anything else at this point. So a little A little tricky. I usually don't have Spike in many of my cartoons to begin with, so like trying to... I really made a couple rigs for Spike very seldomly. And then I only used them. Yeah. They got made up for like one... I made like a very specific rig for Spike way back when. But it wasn't really made to do anything else, kind of a thing. Like it was made to do like one action. I think it was to do like light some fireworks. So he like had enough to like kind of walk up and then like blow some fire. So this one definitely got a little thinner. I want it to be about the same, so probably have to bring this in. Welcome back. I don't know if you saw much of the Sparky drawing here. That's what we're doing now. So on the left is all my collage of drawings. And then just start to rough it out. Some of my basic head shape is probably going to change over time too, so trying to figure that out. I've never really drawn this character like at all ever, so this is my first time trying to figure it out and also try to do it as a fairly okay technical style drawing now. So I don't know where this is gonna really head or anything. So I'm just like seeing details as I go. So if I miss anything, let me know. So I think this is... head shape definitely needs to change a lot. Probably just go over it later. Took so many pictures. It'll be one of these. I took so many that one of these is gonna work for my purposes. So I like this one because like its body was kind of forward already. Let's see. It's pretty just round. Just kind of. So I'm not going around the exact circle there that I made because this is the circle. The green circle is only for referencing of how tall he should be, which I realize that should be actually much shorter than in that case. A little bit more. So I gotta have room for the legs. So the legs will then be could be about here then. And so just kinda a little thigh. And then kinda taper that out and then it goes back in. And then toes. So I'm doing pretty quickly. Oh, there we go. And we kind of got a little weird gremlin guy. It's a little different. I'll fix that as we go along. I don't know, my sketching style is like not draw one line. It's just trying to figure out what I want as I go along. So like I do a lot of overlines. To my detriment, that I'd like to have a little bit of room to see what I want here. Eventually, like one of these lines is gonna work, you know. So it's like, trying to draw like a triangle, like, you know, draw like a shape or anything at different angles. It's like one of them is gonna work. What does Sparky meet Spike? They become bros. Ooh, they can become brothers. I just love that. Yeah. But is there like a fan fiction? Does film fiction? I haven't gotten there in a while. Has film fiction updated to G5? Are they like accepting of G5 stories? Because I'm sure, like, when the movie first came out, they'd be like, I don't know. We want to do that right now, you know, to allow. Because there's not enough, obviously, there's not too much content to do that much. Oh, thank you for checking. I appreciate that. Definitely don't have to. I think it'd be fun to see just what they'll allow. What does this guy look like? Does he remind me of anyone? Usually I kind of draw it at angles, so I gotta restructure it. Very basic. And then we'll draw it's a little bit higher. Let's try and do. So maybe it starts from probably the back here. So that'll be something like that. I'll draw it simple and then see. Because I have a guide to kind of work with rather than completely freehanding it. Obviously, I'll be able to copy and paste from one side to the other, so I'm not wholly like making sure that both sides are perfect to each other. But at least if one of these look good, then I could just copy and paste it from the other. Copy the good one to the other side, and I can just remove that, and we're good. There we go. And then you just add all the extra fun details as we go. Okay. Does he have the... Got a tail. I was gonna see if he had like little lines like these. Spike has those. Guess I simplified him a little bit. Oh, kinda. Okay. Interesting. Sure, my stuff's real good there. So maybe there's only 3 stories. Interesting. Huh. Obviously, G5 is not new anymore. It's basically like a year old now, the first movie. So I think it'd be more than that. So maybe they got it on a different. What would it be like? A new generation? Some other kind of pun. It's not feeling the head shape. I think it's probably gonna be my bane, my nemesis. A lot of little fun, swirly details. Those are gonna be fun to add. Ooh, thinking in Toon Boom way, I can have these swirls be a separate layer from the actual ear itself. So I can have like ear be like this darker green, be one piece, and then the lighter and the swirlies be a different piece. And then as it rotates, I can have those swirlies be able to move around independently. So I need to do some sort of complex rigging with that. At least good to start thinking of those, of how complicated those are going to be. Okay, so that's my initial first sketch, because we started from our very basic kind of shape there to there. So now we can go on top and try and draw, because I use the same color, I can literally just kind of lighten it up. Go into a new fresh layer, and you can start again with a much darker color again. And these won't interact because they're on different sub layers. Beep, 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 beep. There we go. Boop, 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 boop. Hello. Hi, Sasha. Oops is alright. It's alright. Welcome though. So what do we want to fix? I think we want to fix definitely a head shape. I think I want to figure out. It's gonna be flat down here. It's probably just gonna be like an illustration without much Toon Boom today. I think I just spent too much time on the everything else. So I want to exactly match up, and it's definitely got a weird shape. This might be my best bet here, even though it's kind of going down a little bit. Let me just restart that. Let me see if I can get the broad strokes of this. It's a little tricky to try and make it more exact. What I want it to be. So now I'm gonna rotate it as well. So I'm just kind of scared at some points as like it's gonna be. And then some sort of cheek or something. And what I can do is then take these off and then see if I can flip and kind of move these in. What I can do is kind of use my, what's this called? Envelope tool to then kind of figure out a little better shape. See if I can find a shape I like a little bit more. Sorry to really concentrate on that. There we go. Okay, and then let's see. I think I only got one front view, which is my one front view 2D version is this. So, yeah. I'm gonna take it a little bit slower. What do we got? Oops, sorry, four stories. Ah, very nice. Okay. Someone want to be the fifth, what is it, author? To make another G5 pony story, or yeah, pony. I wonder if these eyes are too close to each other. It's not much room though, unless I make room by. Not you? Alright. Guess I am sorta with my visual novel's kind of a story. It's technically is. I'm liking that. And then we get the probably more, instead of it kind of bending inward, maybe it just has a little bit more, a little lower. And then it just kind of has more of a butt end to there. And then we just kind of go in and then, actually, out of the way. This is where all the refinement comes out. A little bit lower. And again, if I mess something up on one side, or if it's not, I can kind of choose, like if I like this left one better, I can also flip the whole canvas to see whereabouts I need to fix things. Get rid of that. And see that now these aren't even. Blech. So I flipped the whole canvas digitally. So now I can see that the pieces here need to be kind of moved over. I'll probably just get like a, yeah, I'll probably just get an illustration today. More refined picture of what I want, and then we'll have to, probably won't do another stream of Sparky. I'll probably just do like the same thing of like with Hitch, as like it's just gonna be me just work on that for a little bit, and then spending the rest of the week working on the rest of it. So yeah. But I think it kind of worked out, because then I would have to spend like, the amount of time that I did work on Hitch was probably going to be like an entire month's work of streams. So I think that's probably okay, because otherwise this project would have took like 3 or 4 times longer. Or like way more than that to get it done. I am shooting for a end of year release before the end of the year, but that remains to be seen, obviously, but looking forward to that. Just throw something in there. Okay, so his ears much more. Look at that shape. What I could do is just kind of flip it and then say, what did I just do? I did something like this, sort of. And then I don't have to try and have my hand, you know, rotate my hand and then try to do it at the same weird distance. And then there's no freckles on there, but there's freckles on everything else. It's almost like they added freckles onto his face just for the 2D version. Something like that. And then eyebrows. So whichever one's better, I'll then take in. Yeah, see, it's hard to... to be on the same side. Eye shines are usually on the same side. So if it's on the left side, then the other people will be on the left side too. If you reverse it, then it feels like they're can look like they're wall-eyed. So the thing about the highlights is that it's a bright light that's being reflected onto the eyes. So like you see, his eyes are very reflective, and you can see things in eyes, reflections. So what you see is a tiny bit of the light going in. So that's what that little light is, little circle there is. Looks like a fun little guy. I think I need to puff these cheeks out a little bit. you can't move things in envelope mode. That's closer. And then we'll just keep refining it as I go along as well. So like when I do my final pen work, I'll be even more exact and keep refining it as I go. So that's where we started with this. And then looked at it more and then decided what needs to go and what needs to move. And then we get it a little more chubby, a little more fun kind of a shape. Well, yeah. At least for me, it's always about making sure that I just kind of go back through over and over. It's hard for me to just draw things nicely the first time, because I never really draw things the same way twice. Like even writing my name, I always write it a little bit different each time. So I don't think I've ever really wrote my name, like handwriting is never really the same every single time. It's always going to be a little different. So I always kind of struggle with that. Okay, I like this drawing. Same layer, good. Probably start with the feet, probably. Kind of up, but also not. This means it was just like a little bit of seeing what the lines really are that they kind of chose. And I kind of think of it as like, oh, this is a curve left or a curve right. Whenever making these, it's like there's only like certain amounts of lines you can really do from like point A to point B. There's only a certain amount of line shapes. Obviously, you can do like all the wiggles and stuff, but it's like on the more simpler side, you get a U shape, N shape, or a woo kind of shape. Usually, you're just gonna be doing the C shape, the S shape. And that's kind of it, because then you just reverse it, where you get the other designs. But obviously, that one's a little more complex. But usually, you kind of see like what kind of shape it is, and go like, this is a C shape that's going backwards. So then you just draw that. So I usually think about it afterward. And it's like, okay, I'm seeing that what I need is a C shape, concave. You know, concave versus convex, I think? Or caves go in? I don't remember. One of them goes the other way. Trying to think. There's a lot of general anatomy stuff that's good to know. Well, mustache. Is that mouths usually end around the halfway point of the eye. So you can start to think about some general anatomy stuff. That's like the nose, probably a little bit inward of that. And then these are a little bit, but for a cartoon they could be inward. Closer to the center of the whole mouth. And that just made like a weird line there. All right. Guess I could just connect it with another one of these shapes. I think most of it is just now trying to fill in these gaps a little bit better. And we just go back in and remove those. And then see. Obviously, this will be my interpretation as well. So it's like, I'm not trying to make it 1000% perfect, but just enough that's like, hopefully when you see it, you know, if you turn off all the colors, can you still recognize what kind of character it is? That's my goal. Rather than being 1000% accurate with every single stroke here. Usually I like to try to simplify it into like a very simple shape, so a little hard to see, but I made like a water balloon kind of shape like that for the arm, and I'll just add a little paws because I know how to connect something like that. I think I'll flip it, and then I can draw this little water balloon kind of teardrop kind of shape back into there. I have a habit of making things smaller than they usually are. Just when drawing things, like if just even that for that one, that's like, whoops, I made that a little smaller. Okay. See how that's looking? Okay. It's like a polite fellow. It's not quite as eccentric looking as the usual character is. Trying to make it like a base shape, you know, very basic version of the character. It's not going to be the most expressive, I guess, right now. It's a bunch of refinings. Okay, wings. Wings are pretty good last time, so probably just need to draw off a little bit more. Let's try and make it a little bit more there. And also, I want to draw it at a certain angle, so I'm going to rotate the whole screen. There's a ton of fun drawing tools in Toon Boom. You would think a animation drawing suite would be pretty good for their drawing tools, and they are. Especially compared to Flash, I always drag on it, but it's like, man, just going from Stone Age to Platinum Age, it's like, whoa, okay, I could just do that. That's awesome. One of the big things that Flash, it's more group and symbol based. So if I had something that's like, if I draw two lines on top of each other with Flash, they would just exist as one object, and then it's like I can't really separate, you know, have these two lines be unmerged. It would merge in Flash. It would merge into one piece. Well, with Toon Boom, they always become like each individual stroke is its own object. So I can do whatever I want with this, and so that becomes way more powerful to do whatever I want now. So it's like, whoa, I can have a lot more fun shapes, but then it's like, I could just kind of go like, I don't want this line, boop, it's gone, you know. And a bunch of other fun tools. So, there you go. Okie dokie. His head is a little tall. What if I want to kind of select all of this? See what I got. I think I just want to squish it down slightly and pull it out. I want to pull his head a little bit off. So it's good to kind of gremlinize it. As fun it needs to be. Stretch out a little bit too. Envelope tool on the bottom. Stretch them out. Feels a little wide, but I think we'll be okay. Again, this is only the second sketch, so I'll probably have to go back through and, yeah, make sure that this doesn't feel like an animation, should feel like the same picture. So I'll have to also work on that to make sure he's not moving. But a little better than this, and a little better than that. So getting there. So probably with another couple other revisions, or at least trying to figure out what well, with this I can improve. Probably the next step. Unfortunately with that, that means I have to start to think about noding things so I can get my final pieces in place. Let me get a layer selector here. And let me just check on something over here real quick. Alright. I only want to see the line art, which is that one. And then go back down here and kind of choose a color there. So this means I can go back here if I want to. I think I drew something up there. There we go. This will be where its origin is now. So I want to put them on top of Hitch. He'll kind of fit in there. I want to put it on a mare. He'll fit on there. So that means he can fit. You can like sit down and kind of fit right in there. So pretty happy with that before I move on to anything else too drastic, but I think that's good. Okay. So he's just a little guy. Okay, let's go to my sketch. So I'll have to have different groups for every piece now. Okay. So I'll just get Sparky. I'll just start with head, just so I can have something here. And then body. So I can do this. Start rigging this. Obviously, now we're going more Toon Boom Premium specific. So I can change this drawing into a group, even though there's only one piece. I don't know. And we could probably make this spelled correctly. Would be pretty cool. Okay. So now there's different groups for all of these. Let me get peg here, and connect them into the main one. So now I have a master peg. Now kind of go in the middle of them. So this one controls everything, and then if I have like a head piece, then I can move just the head, body, and so forth. So if I want to go inside the head, I now have a whole other inside multiverse kind of thing. I think like a Toon Boom YouTuber, Onion Skin, described Toon Boom existing in like an 8 or 9 dimensions. And it's like, it's true of just how many different ways of accesses, different accesses of how you can manipulate things. Obviously, it's natively a 2D program, or at least that's what it specializes in 2D. But then it also always exists in a 3D plane. And then, like, what even describes the node view of how to is its own axis of movement, and then everything else. So it gets really complicated. Okay. I don't want this to be called head specifically. I think I just want to call it the part of the head, which is just the skull. And then we'll just kind of start building from here, building out. So I'll have another one that every of these pieces will be connected to. That's where it just takes forever. It's just now trying to go back through and naming everything. And then the eyes will be its own huge thing as well, in the mouth. So what do we need? Because I can't just write eye. I need to have, you know, pupil, eye shine, iris, eyebrow, cheek, freckles, you know, for every single drawing layer here. Can't just be mouth. Needs to be snouts. Needs to be lips. you know. So I got skull. I see some ear. So I'll name it ear 1, and then ear 2. I need horn. We're gonna call it middle 1, and then middle 2, and then horn top 1, horn top 2. That's good for now, so I can start to figure this out. This is gonna explode into like this huge web of probably like 100 elements just for the head. Trying to think of whether or not I want to have these be. These are the top, they could be on top. The ears can probably be low. Because these will also be in 3D space, I have to think about what order they go into the composite. Because if it reads it from left to right, so if you have something layered on top of here on the left, it'll be rendered first, basically, on top. But you can always use the peg transformations to then make it kind of force it to be re-rendered in order, so it'll be in a different order. I wanted these to be something closer to that. This is just the tip of the iceberg with all these because I know how complicated the mouths and eyes get. So these are just the extra bits here, really. And then don't even get started on all the leg parts, arm parts. Then wire that in. And then each of these need to then be, these will go into the head, I think. Trying to think if they have to have an intermediate, but I think they could just go into the head. Probably definitely won't have time to draw all these yet, but at least you can see how complicated this part is. I don't know if this is more interesting or not. Playing with nodes. And then we got the horn. Okay, so we'll have the eyes, probably the mouth somewhere around here too. Because I always can restring it. Sparky. I'll do the freckles. Freckle 1. So I can have it on the left and right side. That's what I'm doing. Get those in, and then lid, then the let's see, pupil, and then the iris, then the highlight, then the eyebrow, and then the cheek. So I haven't even touched the entirety of the mouth yet. Because the mouth again will be lips, inner mouth. I guess we'll get into it. But yeah. So I like to have the eyes be its own thing. At least separated visually from everything else. So this is a headpiece. And then we don't have hair. That'll make that easy. Okay. I like that. Yeah, if I had more time, if I completed Hitch a little bit faster, I probably would have done most of this quote boring part off screen. I think it's kind of fun to see like how complicated this gets already. And to me, because I've done this process so many times already, it's like whatever, you know. It's like, yeah, just make it up as I go along with some sort of semblance. So I want to have another composite, so I can have Sparky eye 1 comp. And that's right, all of these are going to be on one eye. So cheek, eyebrow. There's like a visual hierarchy I also like, where certain pieces need to be on certain places. So the highlight will be on top. Pupil's the top black part. Iris is the color part, and then the eyelid is the eyelid. Iris, pupil, highlight. So these all make up, these three here make up the middle section of the actual eye that then move with the eyelid, the eyebrow, and the cheeks. Okay. These all go into its own composite separate from, so if I want to, I can like hide it from the render separately if I wanted to. But also it just makes it a little easier to categorize all this, so I don't have to have everything literally go into the same composite and get this super messy. Because otherwise this would have been, this one pipe would have been like the 10 pipes that go into from here to there. Then this one would have been a little harder to understand. Okay. Sometimes I like to group the eye into its own group and then have that just be like one element on this level. But I think just having it be more, you get this huge canvas that's pretty much infinite, so it's like it's okay to have this have every piece hanging out here. We'll get into some interesting hierarchy with these, because I need to have some of these pieces, when I move one piece, I want more than just that one piece to move, where I want more than one thing to be combined. So what I want is when I move, let's make it a pupil. So if I click on pupil, I also want the highlight and the iris to also move. So this means that this one has more hierarchy and also can move. This one will then move all of those at the same time. And I think I want another intermediate peg. I1 MP. So that when I move this one, all of these bips, just these, will then move at the same time. So if I highlight this, then everything that is connected to it's basically all of the eyepieces then will also be carried along with it. If I move the head, then I want the eye to also move. So it kind of gets, you can kind of squish this down a little bit in some places here and there. Kind of scrunch them up. Take up a little bit less room. But yeah, that'd just be one eye, and then I would need a whole copy of that over here for the second eye. I'm not going to do that right now, because it'd be the same thing. But basically it'd be redoing and renaming. I think they have to be different, unique pieces. Unless if I make them the same exact, if I copy paste it, it'll treat it as a direct instance, would then be, if I move one, I think the other one will start to then move, or they'll be kind of linked to each other. So, yeah. But I'll worry about that later. Try and get all my nodes in first. And I think that's just about everything I need, unless I need more. At least just for the drawing pieces. Like, I'm sure like for some of these I'm going to need deformers, which would be something in the middle. I don't think there'd be much physics with all these, because I think that'll be okay. So I think I'll just move on to the body. While I'm here, let's do the shadow. Need its own separate element. Because sometimes I might want to just have them move the body, but then I want the shadow to then not move. So it has to be separated. And I think it's going to need some deformers as well, so kind of leave some room in the middle there. And I'm not explaining it as I go, but it's otherwise I'll be still back at like making the eyes, you know, or like trying to draw a skull or something, or one of these horns. So kind of see more overview without really any exact examples, which I don't know if that's better or worse. At least you can see it just how whippy this already gets. Okay, so we'll do the same thing. This guy will have a little bit different structure than I think the ponies will. So this one I'll have to start thinking a little bit more if I want to set this up. Let's be a master pick for the body, same deal. But now I want this to be Sparky torso. Basically the same thing as like the skull, which is like the base part. Let's also add a tail. Tail will go behind. I'm thinking of having it be like a 90-degree head turn, so he'll like have his whole face rotate about 90 degrees to the left or right. And I think for the body, I was gonna make different views, like literally just have it be a front view, that'll be it, and no interpolation, so it can't like rotate smoothly from one to the other, but probably just pop between a front view and like a 3/4 view. So that would mean with my sketch I'll also have to make an alternate version of what every single piece will look like at a different angle. So that's why I'm not usually doing. That's why I usually don't have the body also interpolate, because every single body piece would also have to figure out how to move and rotate. And it's like that usually doesn't look too good when trying to give the computer just to interpolate those parts. But the head pieces, they'll just kind of slide around because it doesn't really change its actual real form, I guess. And then it makes it a little bit easier to do that. The head's more on a swivel compared to actually changing what would be the geometry of it as it changes. Like it needs to flip between a front view torso to then a 3/4, which means that it might actually be possible with this. I'll have to think about it as I go, but I think because I can separate this into a whole bunch of different pieces and have like the torso actually deform and have deformers on the torso, and then have a front view version, and then or like have a more default shape of the torso as a piece, and then have deformers to then decide what the different poses are. So like the front view will have like more up and down rectangular, but then have a separate pose of the deformers actually moved into different pieces that then have the torso then be this more rounded shape here, like be more log or square, and have the lighter piece here be its own piece, and then have that also work as well. I'm just here for like having like, see how like this shape here, like this angle here isn't actually too drastic from this one, so it might actually work. I might have to play with it. Obviously if I try to make it sort of rotate, then it would just need to be in like almost like twice as many pieces to work with. So that's what I'm kind of scared, because then I could just have like the leg and then like the toes be on one object and then be done with it, and then just have another picture that then is this other pose of it, and then don't have to worry about them trying to interpolate between each other. So whether or not in animation I actually want that to happen, that's another thing. Like, yeah, it's possible to have it rotate from one to the other, but it's like in animation I want that to happen. I actually want like a subtle change like that, to actually have a slider to be able to change it from a front view to a 3/4. Is that what I want? Or do I want it to be like a front view and then I do a slider and then it just pops into the 3/4 view and then be done with that. How many times in the animation do I want it to be a subtle change between one to the other? And I'm not sure at this point. So at least just, yeah, for now, just trying to get everything accounted for and then go from there. Just really, my guy looks like a Walmart Spyro. What do I want? I want Sparky leg one. That's also what I mean. Like I could have leg, or I could have leg foot as 2 pieces, or I can have 3 pieces, or 4. I could have thigh, foot, and toes, and lower foot, you know? So, what do I want? Depends on how much flexibility. Also, deformers can do that as well, but I think, yeah, let's go for that. I'm just thinking out loud, but I'm thinking that that might actually work. I'm gonna do a thigh, and then a foot, and then a toe. So it'd be like 3 pieces. Is that right? Thigh, foot, toes. Because then I can then kind of shift the toes around if I want to in animation. And then the foot can then kind of rotate on its own, and then the thigh can then be like an anchor to make sure everything stays put when the foot rotates. Let's have a buffer, like some sort of overlap with that. Okay. I think I'll go with that. And then I think for now it's probably either have like a separate drawing. So it'd be like 2 drawings of like a bee in front, and then another separate drawing of like the torso being at a certain angle. Because I don't see myself trying to do anything kind of subtle with that, of trying to actually have the body kind of like kind of rotate from one side to the other rather than just kind of pop it into the other. So, okay, thigh 1, thigh 2, foot 1, foot 2, toe 1, toe 2. Okay. Whew. Alrighty. So, let's see. So, thigh, foot, toe. Because again, in theory, I could just have this be 1 piece, but I think just for animation, to try and get at least some more flexibility and then not, it's also pretty good. So, let's see. Do I want to have them be separate composites just for the leg? I think so. Because then this could be its own kind of generic pieces of the body there, and then this could be its own piece. So I think toes will be on top, foot, and then thigh. So I get something like that, and then I get a whole leg like that going. Okay, cool. Okay, I think I'm good. Sparky leg, what is it, 2? Comp. Okay. I almost quit the whole program. Jeez. I guess my control P to close is close to the button to close it. Control P to add a peg. Button is actually kind of close. What even was it? Was it like... Oh, it's... Oh, okay. It's Control O wants to close. Okay. Which is close to Control P, to which is wanted to add the peg. Okay, got it. I want another peg so that I can move everything at once. Because otherwise, this is where it gets fun. In Flash, if I wanted to move 2 things at once, or, you know, wanted to move like a whole arm, we'll get to that. I guess we'll talk about the toe. If I wanted to have the toe be, the toes are going to be these little lines. They're not going to be the full toe pieces. I think that's irrelevant. They'll just kind of slide back and forth on the foot itself. But if I wanted the toe and the foot to kind of move at the same time in Flash, you would have to select both of them individually on the layer timeline, and then they would have like their own, they would kind of put the pivot point like in the middle of them or something. I'm trying to remember. I think that's right. And then you kind of have to rotate it from that point. or then you, every time you select more than two things, you have to then move the anchor point to then angle the point of rotation. You want it to rotate a piece. So I can move this around. So the angle of rotation, the point of where the drawing here is going to rotate from here. So it's going to be this wide circle. It's going to rotate around it from there. If I want him to kind of rotate from his belly, I have to move the anchor point, their angle of rotation thingy, axis thing here. I move that down to where this is, and so he'll be much tighter and actually rotate from there. Problem is with Flash, if I select two things, then it'll average the anchor point in the middle of those two pieces. So let's say if I had like an elbow joint that I put, I have like an arm, and then like a lower arm or a hand. If I try to select these two pieces at the same time, it would then average the anchor point, which I selected, you know, when I made this arm, I put the anchor point here, so it'll rotate from there and kind of rotate up. The problem is that if I wanted the hand, which has the anchor point at the where you naturally rotate your arm, it'd be there. But if I select both of them, then it would average and put the anchor point here. So if I wanted to move it from this point up at the top, I would then have to grab the anchor point and then manually move it every single time I want to move more than two things at once. Because it doesn't understand to have hierarchy to be able to have an extra object, like a higher transformation object that then has its anchor point literally at the point that it wants. And then by having to be able to select more than two drawings, you then select the higher one, and then anchor point is, no matter what, always at that place. And they can move all the different, you can move like 100 pieces at the same time from a certain angle of rotation. Obviously that's not really gonna be what Flash is really gonna do, because the way that everything is set up. But just with the layer system, there is some newer updates that do have something like that, but it's like, you know, it's gonna be wonky, and it's like it doesn't really work. And actually had like screen flash at me really fast of like trying to show two different, like over here and over here at the same time, so it would be like whoa, like super fast of just trying to select some things. So it's like glitching out and then not doing what it's actually meant to do. So it's like, okay, it's not quite ready yet, and it doesn't really work. But this peg system is has a steep learning curve at the top when you first start, but once you get going, it's like, okay, you do this like 100 times in one project or more, setting up these pegs. So it's like, I got it. By the end, you're like, yeah, I got it. Okay. Okie dokie. That's foot. And then we have other foot. I don't want to set that up right now. It's the same thing. Off screen, I'll do all the duplicate stuff because I just want to keep going. Let's see. Hi Luna, is that like a galaxy thing? Hello. Also, this is gonna be a Sparky Sparkeroni. Eventually. There you go. What he's supposed to look like. Let me get some water. Splashed it literally on my glasses. Can't see. Woo. Okay. I'm partially blind. Okay, here we go. What do we got? Arms. Same kind of deal. Let's see, I want another composite. And I want the same kind of thing. What do I want? Arms are going to be the hardest part. If I want it to be like a full-on, like in a studio rig, you would probably want like a 50 to 100 different hand frames, so you can like pop from one hand pose to another. And that's what they did. Who knows? In Pony, they probably did something like that, where it's like they're not having they don't have each, what's a claw? There we go. I was gonna say talon. They wouldn't have every claw be its own object, and then try to rotate that, not just be two filet with like 4 fingers. But what I would probably do is have the whole hand, like up to the wrist, be its own wrist and down, be its own object, and then you would have different poses for that hand. So, and one. So what would happen is that you would have, see if that works good. We'll get a different color so you can really see it. So you would have the whole arm in some sort of piece. You might have it split up here. And so that'd be 2 pieces, would just be 1 and 2. And so for this hand, you would have different poses. So it'll just be, you would just have an object that's literally this, and then it would have like a thumbs up or some sort of hand going like that, and then it would have multiple pieces of the same hand object. So the hand would have different frames and different poses of what the hand can do. So you just have like a whole bunch of pictures that just like you can swap between all these different poses. So then obviously then you only need one arm picture or one arm pose, but then you would just have like a whole bunch of different combinations of, maybe thumb down but then point, and then these would be N, and then you would get that. And then so it'll take forever because you have to like design every single hand pose, and then at different angles if you want to do that. So like maybe you need something of a side hand view, and so you need a point and then something like that, and then you need a side everything down, and then a side everything open. It's be a little thinner, at least a little bit designed a little different. I want to see if I can find, I don't have this readily available, but I'm gonna see if I remember where I put this. So I want to see if I can find it. Matt is a Toon Boom instructor, designer. Let's see. Oh, come on. Let's see if I can open this. My images on my computer are like not not good. When trying to open different pictures, if I try to preview an image from inside my file explorer, it doesn't want to open. But if I put it onto my desktop, then it does. So I was like, come on. So credit to Matt Watts. I'm gonna show this picture. Boop. There we go. Found it. So this is Matt Watts' hand chart. So obviously I took a picture from the video, but you can still kind of make it out that you have, so you have default standard hands for turnarounds and rest. And so these numbers are the angle of rotation. So you would have like a flat angle here, and then 90 degrees difference. What does that hand look like? And then as it rotates around, you would have different flat pictures like that. And so hold, if it's holding something or try to on hips, sometimes layered. Yeah, so it gets very complicated no matter what you do. But you have, if you want to do a kind of a mix between rigged and hand-drawn, you kind of prepare all of these hand drawings before you would start making your animation in folds on scene. You would go through and have a whole library of all these different hands and different poses and on every rotation. And then once you have all these set up, you would have, how many you have at the end of it, then how many you need, and then you would then be able to have like click on your one hand, and then you'll be able to then change the exposure drawing pose. I don't know how to explain it. Like a different Toon Boom stores all of your different frames that you put inside of one drawing object. So imagine like you have a container and you have a bucket, and you put all of these different pictures in sequence inside of that bucket. And so all you're really doing is selecting that bucket, and then you're pulling out which one you want at a given point in time. So from that bucket, I can select default 0 and then hide that one, and then let me get the other one and go like, ooh, I need 0.180, and then that guy shows up, and then put it back in the bucket. So if that makes any sense, that's kind of how Flash and a lot of other symbol-based, object-based animation softwares work. We're able to draw something and then later on recall it later on. So if you draw it once, it'll be saved inside of this container, box, bucket, and then whenever you want it, you can recall it, and then you have that picture again. So it becomes really nice and handy, and that's how a lot of my animations are done, at least how my puppets are set up, is that I have all these different containers that then hold who knows how many different drawings, and then I'm able to recall those pictures again. So I used to have all of the mouth shapes work like this. So you have like just a happy face, and then like a sad face, and then like a slightly open, and then like a teeth, and then like a F, and then an L, all those different pictures. And then over the timeline, I would be able to recall that L shape at frame 50, and then put that container back, and then say I want frown face, which would be one of these pictures, and then put that back on frame 51. So it becomes super handy. And it's like, okay, let me just kind of recall. You draw the picture once, and then for every time you want to reuse it, you just get it from the library bucket, and then you're good to go. So makes animation a lot of pre-production work, a lot of setup, but then once you get these all done, there's like you can do a whole movie worth of content with only the drawings that you made at the very start. So a lot of stuff at the beginning, but once you get it set up, then it's like, okay, I'm good. And reuse these drawings no matter what. Later on. Hi Detailed, welcome. This is Matt Watts' mouth chart. I didn't really read most of this, but yeah, it's really helpful and super useful. So try to think for Sparky's hand. I could do this sort of method rather than being actually the more complex way would be to have every claw finger be its own object, and then have either different pictures of it kind of curling up or having deformers to be able to kind of curve it at certain angles. But yeah, just get it to be determined whether or not I want all the different angles, or just probably just stick with the one column of these basically of default whole and fist, point, and spread out. Or these are all separate. So I guess it's really just 1, 2, 3, 4 might be your least amount you probably would want. And then if you want them at different angles of each of those, then you would do these other ones. But probably this is the most confined version of all that. But yeah. Does that make sense? Anything from this you want me to explain? Let's see. Hi, Judd. Otherwise, I'm going to go back to Wiggler Toon Boom. But anything about this I can explain a little better. Let me know while we're here. If not, excuse me. If not, then there'll be obviously Matt Watts' YouTube channel, which I think is just his name. And then you'll be able to find a whole bunch of tutorials that are really awesome. He's pretty underrated. He's not like he's a little bit less popular subscriber count wise than Onion Skin and Z-Bird and all those Stylus Rumbles and all those other wonderful Toon Boom animators and tutorialists. Just made that up. But yeah, I definitely like Matt's approach, because a lot of his stuff is actually more practical, or at least just like, let's work on a project kind of a thing. Because I feel like with the other two YouTubers, they like to do, here's how to draw a rectangle in Toon Boom, and it's like, okay. But Matt's be like, here's how to make an animation. You know, let's make a potato rig, and let's have a multi-part 40 multi-part video sequence series. Where it's like, okay, now I'm gonna draw the eyes, and it's like we're building the whole thing from start to finish if you watch all of them. And it's like, let's also animate this sequence, and it's like, wow, okay, so it's actually a little better for me wise. It's like, okay, I can kind of get a fuller picture of everything than just here's how deformers work. Here's one case study. Did you get it? All right. So, but yeah, let me swap on back. Do 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 do. Got so many things open. Just making sure I got everything set up here. Okay, so that at least makes somewhat more sense now with what I'm talking about with these, is that you would have different Sparky hand, and then you'd be able to show one of these at a time. Obviously I'm showing all of them at the same time, but you would just only be able to see one hand, and then you'd be able to use drawing substitutions. So you'd have like a whole mess of these that kind of just go across, and then I'll be able to recall frame 2, which would then be one of these open ones, and then swap between it, and it'll be exposed on a timeline sort of a thing. So I think I'll do that method, and that might work out pretty well. Let's see some green. I need to try to fix that real quick. There we go. Okay. Let's get rid of that. And Sparkeroni. So I need the hand, and then we'll need do I want an upper and lower arm, or do I want, I could probably just have one arm and then deform it. I think I'll go for that right now. And then I'll need, actually that'll be it, because then that'll just be the arm. So it'll just be two pieces, two drawing objects, and then it'll just be complex of how many different, the hand will hold like 50 pictures, and then the arm will then have a deformer. So it seems less complicated right now, but we'll add a whole bunch more. At least I will. You just get to watch some of this. And then arm. Well, the arm control the hand. So every time I move the arm, the hand should also move. There's also ways to have IK and FK, forward and inverse kinematics with arms. Usually have these for like kind of limbs, where you can set it up so like when you move the hand, and the arm will react in a certain way that's like kind of like automatically bend the arm like at the elbow, and kind of move it at a certain place or a certain angle when you move the hand. Be nice. I haven't really set up my ponies to really, the rest of the G5 ponies to really do that, so might be a little awkward to also have these do that when the other ones don't. I don't think it's going to be really needed. I'll probably just do FK, which is probably the default way of doing it. For forward kinematics is where everything moves and rotates axes from the shoulder, and then the shoulder then moves everything downward towards the hand. So if you move shoulder piece, then upper arm, lower arm, and hand move. And then if you move elbow, lower arm, then that'll only affect everything downward, which would then be the hand. And if you move the hand, then only the hand moves. So that's forward kinematics. And then inverse kinematics is the inverse, the opposite of that. So then when you move hand, then everything up the chain then moves. And then the shoulder is locked to the torso. So then when you move the hand, then the arm would then kind of move and rotate in accordingly, and then the shoulder being locked. So it's usually what animators like is IK, is that you can then, it's a little bit easier to understand than trying to move and rotate. Forward kinematics are more for more mechanical robot-y kind of style, kind of motions. It's because it's hard to make more super organic animations with FK. At least less fluid than IK. So that's usually what you want. I think for that, I think we're good. I think I can have one more. Meeting wings. I don't got that. 1 and 2. I'm not calling them left and right, just in case I flip the whole character across. That means if I flip the character to have the actual objects be left or right, or like it'd be like staged left and right, might make more sense, but at least just calling it something that's I can understand, just have something different from each other. You could have A and B, you know, whatever, but I don't want to call it left and right, because that's too specific, and if I change, because I can select, see if I can select them maybe. There we go. If I flip it, then it'd be, is the left hand is not, you know, really the left arm anymore, because now it's on that side, so it's just easier to not think about it like that. What I can do, I think it'll, yeah, I was trying to make it so that it'll be connected to, the wings be connected to maybe like the torso, so we have a whole body bip here. But then connecting it to the main body, which should then be this invisible one that'll not have a drawing connected to, but it'll just be used to then move the whole body itself. And I think that'll work a little better. And this is only the tip of the iceberg. I haven't done the duplicates, and then each one of these might have some deformers or extra bits or some cutters. Definitely the torso, I think I'll need one more piece, which should then be Sparky torso. Is there a word for like a little patch of lighter bip, like where you have your skin, but then like you have a belly color or something? Yeah, we'll just call it belly for now. Is there like a belly? Like a lot of reptiles probably have that, like some sort of patch. Or his entire body is not green. It's like this piece of him that's like a little bit lighter. And what I want is connected to the torso. So when the torso moves, the body will move. I think for now, belly's gotta work. Then the head of all this, and then we'll have the other ear, eye placed there. Then all of the ears and horn bits are here. Okay. And obviously I'll redraw his initial sketch, or like as I go, I'll try to refine it as I go. And obviously I have to have a whole bunch of new colors as well. So yeah, this kind of animation character rig does take a while. It just depends on just how many pieces and complexities you want to add onto it. Because obviously if I just add like drawings into everything, all the different drawing elements that I have, all these blue parts, if I add like a drawn picture onto every piece, it'd technically be done, but it just won't be as animatable friendly as it can be, you know. I wouldn't be able to do all the fancy Toon specific stuff of like be able to do the head rotations or have blinks or have deform the wings or have the hands or something. So it's just gonna take a little bit of time to add all of those drawings and then also do all the rigging. So yeah, but I think I'll call it here. Oh boy. So yeah, let's go to toaster time then. And get some more water for you guys here. See you, Jed. Let's see. Close a couple things here I don't need. That it was a super eventful kind of stream, but I think I hopefully made up for it by doing all those other showings of stuff. Definitely the visual novel is coming along, but yeah, just showing all the different pieces of it. So even though I'm not exactly coding on the visual novel, you know, today it's like I'm still working on the assets. Like I didn't have all the characters I needed for the story, so that's where that comes from. Happy holidays! Yes, happy holidays. I think my timeline is that I'm going to do. Let me get my calendar. Have a cute Isabel calendar today. Let's see. Where it's today. So we're the 3rd. So we have 1, 2. We have 2 weeks, and then Christmas Eve. So I think we'll do probably next week. Let's see. It'll probably be Luna / the cutscene. I'll probably work on next week as a stream. Next stream will be either Luna's character or the cutscene with all the different, basically the dream part of it, the opening cutscene, and then see where we are with the visual novel itself to show what that looks like. And then the 17th, so 2 weeks from there, today that'll be probably just show off, maybe just do hopefully I'll get it done. If I get it done by that point, we'll do a gameplay of it, and if not, then we'll do some cleanup work and see if there's anything else we can work on from there. But hopefully I'll just keep working on it, keep plugging away at it, as most of the harder stuff is mostly done. So hopefully by the 17th we'll probably be nearly done. Hopefully. See, you didn't last the whole stream then. If you're leaving now, I appreciate it though. Thank you for timing out that guy earlier. Appreciate that. Good work. Which is weird because then the Streamlabs bot, which initialized at the beginning, didn't take care of it. So either I need to reset the values there and make it a little bit more strict, or it's not actually doing anything and I can't tell. So okay. Well, it wasn't like a whole to the end of the stream, like they weren't trying to do the entire doing it for like a half hour or more, so it was only like a couple minutes. So I think they would I thought they would just kind of fizzle out because I wasn't paying attention to them after that. Thank you though. Let's see, where was I? 17th will be hopefully be the end. I'll get the yeah, that most of the hard work is pretty much done. It's the hard part is just making sure to like get a setup. Most of it is just the initialization of stuff to make sure that everything works. And then once you get past that kind of threshold of like, okay, this works, I'm going to use this method, then it's just rinse and repeat of like going through, you know, once I set up like Izzy and Sunny's in the visual novel of how they just kind of talk back and forth, once I figured out a pattern that works, then I just literally just did it over and over. But to get to that point took a while. but then just initializing, you know, going after the initialization and just like doing it, then it's like, oh, okay, I'll just do the same process that I just did over and over and over. So hopefully now that as I get more and more things set up, then I can just then go through and knock them all down. And I got I got a lot of sunny emotions, so I'm starting to see some places where it's like, oh, I can reuse this face. It's like, oh, this face can also work with this emotion, or this how she's saying it here. So it's like, okay, I can reuse something. So as I go, I'm making less and less pictures for emotions, so that's good. So hopefully by when I get to the end, I don't just kind of reuse the same pictures over and over, so no new ones. But yeah, just keep going from there. We'll probably have the same deal as this past week, where this week will just be the coming week will just be working on Sparky's puppet, and then the last minute I'm like, oh yeah, it's probably also trying to work on some other stuff here. Gotta also do some stuff, so when I show it off, you'll be like, oh look, this is what we wanted. You have the horse feeling something. That's what we want. It's like I should show that off. So glad that I got that for you guys. I was able to share that. So that just means like hopefully in the next couple of weeks it'll be hopefully a little more better. So yeah, as I figure more stuff out, it'll be more smoother sailing from there. Yeah, and then I'll see. I'm looking at my calendar. I'll see if we can do a Christmas Eve stream. I'm not sure what the exact. It'll probably be Christmas theme, but I'm not sure. I don't think I'll be. I think I will be here. I'll be able to stream. I'll be able to stream here, but I'm not sure whether or not you guys would be here. That's gonna be the problem. So I have to probably expect that you guys won't be here, so then I don't have to do. Probably won't do a very collaborative stream. And then obviously New Year Saturday is gonna be literally New Year's Day. Or New Year's Eve? Yeah, New Year's Eve. So probably just do a chill reflection, New Year's resolutions or something. And then I'm also thinking of I'm planning it, but it's just an idea for right now. Is I'm thinking of not doing streams in January, so I can just like refocus and just like not try to just keep charging ahead like every single day trying to do all these stuff, and then just give me a break. So I'll try to work as much as I can in December, try to do all the stream stuff and try to finish the visual novel, and then take a break for January, and then pick back up in hopefully February and recoup from there. That's what I'm thinking right now. But yeah, we'll see. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know now in case that is true. But I'm leaning more toward that, and that might be good for me. So I feel like if I just keep doing it over and over, just like not really. If I'm charging into muddy water and then not realizing it, I'm just gonna keep going deeper and deeper into it, unless I stop and think like, what am I doing? Like I'm just hip deep into muddy water in this trench. It's like, I gotta get out of here. So mentality wise, I think I just need to have some sort of a reprieve. Just a little break, and then recalibrate everything, because if I just keep going, then something that's wrong that I've been doing this whole time is just gonna keep being wrong unless I have time to figure it out. So yeah, because I'm spending so much time working on projects, I'm not able to refine and do all these back-end file structure stuff or backups and other things that I probably could do, or make better streams and have more fun stuff for streams and have better ideas and stuff. So I think that'll be what I'll use the time then to do that. Do all the reflecting and trying to figure out what to do for the next coming year. Yeah. So look out for that. But yeah, trying to think of the present that I'll just keep going, I guess. Of course, this means because I was spending my whole last week literally on only the visual novel. I wasn't working on the movie, so I planned to have the movie done, or at least chapter 7 done a little sooner. I planned it a little bit sooner than I thought. But because of all these visual novel delays, I've had to delay the movie a little bit for the chapter 7. So that's also what I want to do in January, is just literally have nothing to work on and then just focus on the movie as my main focus. So reflect and then try to work on the movie as much as I can. And it's going to be January, but for now, to keep working on the visual novel itself and then see where that goes. But again, now that I got most of the back end stuff, I can continue with it. And looking forward to working on Sparky. Now that I figured out a roadmap of what I want to do, it should be a little bit more smoother than just trying to stretch through it really, really haphazardly. So, but yeah, let's see. Let me put this back. Okay. Yeah, hope that was fun. And then, I guess you know what I was gonna say, like, and then next week. So, but yeah, I've been doing good. Hope you guys had fun. I think I'll wrap it up here. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. And there we go. Happy. Thank you guys. I just wanted to be more happy about this. I appreciate you guys so much. Thank you. All right, and thank you guys. Thank you guys for watching. Hope to see you again next week, and then we'll continue with all this. Hope this was real fun, and I did a bunch of different stuff. Anyway, thank you guys, and then yeah, see you next week. Okay, bye bye.